Hi everybody, Larry Sloan here again. Welcome to South Olympic Branch Update number 70.
No, the lighting isn't very good here, but right now I'm trying to work on a module out in the garage and giving it some texture. It's pretty flat, as you can see. And I talked to the guy who built it and I said, hey, do you want me to put maybe some scenery on this thing? And so I cut some random pieces of 1-inch foam with my hot foam knife. And then I laid them down on here, drew an outline with a carpenter's pencil, and then cut a shallow divide in there so that when you line up these other pieces, it gives a little bit more depth. And then I've got to find a way to fill in this gap that's over here at the end that's not covered. And then this whole thing will be, painted an earth-like color. And then from there, we'll probably put some grass and shrubbery on it. Okay, I found a little scrap piece of foam I'm going to glue down there. Then we'll glue this down and adjust it a little bit, pin it in place and let it dry. And then come back with some paint to put on that. Now, the guy who put this module together did a pretty good job of aligning the foam with the top of the plywood, but it is a little high in some areas. So I'm just taking my utility knife and going along and just cutting it down a little bit so it matches. There's less of a grade, because I need to come back here with some scenery and fill this in, and it'll be easier if it's more level. So with the hot fire foam knife, it's not actually the branded hot wire one. It's a cheap knockoff, like I said before. Anyway, did some more foam carving. I haven't worked on this end because I'm not sure whether I'm going to stick another piece back to back with that yet, or what. And I carved out like this piece here. You can see that kind of fits. Well, I looked at that piece and I thought, maybe I'll take bits of that and actually flip it over and glue it to the top here to give this flat part a little more height and texture. Okay, a couple of pieces of that I just broke apart and sat there. You'll notice this piece kind of wobbles a little bit, but that's okay. Once I get some sculpt mold underneath it, it'll help it. And then, of course, I could rasp the foam, but that would just create more of a mess, and this stuff's messy enough as it is. Some of this stuff gets, frizzy, like the hair that just gets bleached a little too much. Just wanted to show this to you guys. Another little piece of foam shaving that was just extra. And now the top of that won't be so flat. That'll work. Yeah, there's grooves there from when I was using this piece to help me with my circular saw, but that'll be filled in too. So I mixed up some sculpt mold and kind of coated that cutout area with that so that it's a little bit smoother, like that. I like to run my finger over it to make it even a little smoother. That looks good. Anyway, and then I took another piece of foam and I attached it to the end of this piece, glued those together, so that'll be one bigger piece. I don't know if I'm going to continue the theme on down towards the end of the module. I've got some other pieces, as you can see, so I might do that, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, I squeezed this module in here so that it would have a better chance of drying when I put some wet products down on it, and also so that I could see better and I wouldn't freeze my butt off, because it's still pretty cold outside. I had to scrape the windows in the truck this morning. So Let's see how much we can get done on this before the show this weekend. And the first thing I need to do is fill some gaps. So I'm just going to use some, I think the stuff is Dried X. And just fill in these things. And I'm going to work my way around doing this all over the place because there's lots of seams in this thing. And it'll just be better if there's not. So right now, I'm just throwing some paint all over. Let's see. I've been working with some raw sienna. And let's see. I'm just going to dump some right here. Right? And I don't care that it's just going to be a blob. Because I'm going to come in with some, I got some water in this cup. And I'm just going to smooth that stuff around. Because I want to just change the color of this a bit. I can't even really see very well what I'm doing over here, but that's okay. I'm not going for 100% coverage here. We are going to blend a little bit. And you'll see some seams and stuff in this stuff. I won't worry about that too much. I'll probably come over and I might come back with some sculpt mold if things will work out the way that I'm thinking. Hey, there's a T-pin I missed. Over there and there. Well, I'll have to wait for that to dry, I guess. Right. Or wipe it off. Anyway, you can kind of see where that's going. I first sprayed over the foam here with a Krylon paint called Camouflage that I picked up at a local hardware store. And I've done that before with foam just to give it some other color besides the pink. And now I'm going over it with some burnt umber. I'm going to get the brush wet and spread this around. And then I'm going to use a couple of other colors like hot cocoa and dark brown. Just put some hot cocoa color on there. And again, this color is not the color I really want. But what color do I want? Well, that's, a good question. I'm not even really going to wait. I'm just going to go ahead and put some ground foam on here. It'll stick to the paint. And I'll come back with a vacuum and I'll vacuum the loose, the stuff that didn't stick to something off of it later. Needed to be darker though. If nothing else, a module is a really good test bed for learning techniques. Really good training land here. And even though I feel like I'm fairly well versed in this, I still like doing it time and time again. So I can pick up something I didn't know just by doing it some more. There were still some gaps in here, so I mixed up some sculpt mold and kind of patched that over. When that dries, I'll go ahead and put some brown paint of some variety or something on it. The spackle that I put on the flat parts last night has dried, and I did a little bit of sanding on that. So now I'm going to paint that while I wait to do the next thing. Okay, so I put some ground foam down, let this area dry, and now I've got some diluted matte medium soaked in there. And what I'm going to try to do next, and I've done a little bit of this before, I think it'll work good, is I'm going to see if I can put some static grass over that, so that when you look through the static grass, you kind of see this undertone of soil and stuff. Okay, so as you can probably imagine, it's hard to hold a camera and do this at the same time. So I've dumped some static grass on there, and there's a lot. There's a lot that's laying over. I'm going to helicopter my vacuum over there next, and hopefully I can pick up some loose stuff there without actually like pulling up the stuff I laid down. So I could just wait until it dries, and I probably will be pretty far over this, and then I'll come back in a while after it has dried and do another pass with the vacuum. Okay, I've scattered some more Woodland Scenics earth, burnt grass, and dark green, or actually not dark green, but weeds on this area. And I'm going to put some more glue down there. I put some glue and some matte medium down before I put this down, and I'm going to put some more glue or matte medium down here, and then I'll let that dry, and we'll come back and do to that what I did here, which I think looks pretty good. This time I didn't even wait for the matte medium to dry for that first layer, because, well, I'm finding that the static grass applicator, which is the Knock Grassmaster 2.0, is not picking up the ground foam. So I kind of thought it would, but it doesn't. So that's cool. Now I'm just going to go back and vacuum again. Okay, vacuum round 1.0, and I'm going to peel off this blue tape. Pretty much, it's interesting how that static grass sticks to that blue tape. Maybe I ought to try this with green tape, and maybe I'd have myself some grass mat. Time to add to this rock face. I'm going to put some Sculptamold I just mixed up. Won't take very much over here, and we'll see what it looks like in a couple minutes. Well, I went over the grass a couple times with the vacuum, and now I'm gonna go ahead and get some stone gray paint going on this area I added a quote-unquote rock feature to. This is just the Woodland Scenic Stone Gray going over some Sculptamold, as I said before. And I think it's not going to take a lot to get a decent looking effect on there. So it looks like I might have to come back with a different brush to get everywhere I want to go. Other than that, though, I like it. Now I have finished the grass strip, or at least putting the static grass down, and I've left about a 4-inch wide swath for a road. Now you can see there's a lot of extra grass laying around, so I'll just be vacuuming that up real quick. And here it is at the Rails to Sails show at the Foss Seaport Waterway Museum. Due to space constraints, we weren't actually able to use this module in the setup at the Foss Waterway Seaport Museum. It's too bad. So I just set a couple locomotives on there for picture purposes.
Well, I hope you all have enjoyed our little side trip or sidetrack, hey, on South Olympic Branch update number 70. And next time I'll get back to working on my main layout here. Until then, have fun with your trains. We'll see you next time.